What's up, Habs fans, hockey fans? Thank you and welcome to a brand new episode of the Curfew Boys podcast. Myself, Sammy, with my cousin Chris.
Hey now.
Hey now. Thank you all once again for tuning into this brand new episode on YouTube or Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. If you're brand new to this episode on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free. Tell your friends about us. If you have Habs fans out there, tell them about us. You're going to enjoy the show. On Apple Podcast, Spotify, please click and like 5 stars. Follow us, subscribe. It'll be our way of feeling the love, showing the love, appreciating the love, however you want to call it. Chris, how are you?
I'm good. It's storming outside, so I'm gonna apologize for some of the noise.
Dude,
but
the storm just passed my area, and I swear to God, I'm saying this now as we're airing this episode. I don't think I'm going to lose power, but I pray to God that I don't lose power. If we do, I got a backup plan. So, but
that's exactly what's going on here. But I think the other thing that I have to add, fans, it's about time. It's no longer going to sound like I'm recording through a toaster.
Dude,
finally got myself a proper mic, courtesy of Anxious
longer,
Anthony. So
you no longer sound like a radio caller calling in on the Delmar's post-game show on TSN 690. But anyways, Chris, this episode's going to be exciting to everybody listening, viewers out there. This episode's going to be exciting because we have a special guest with us. You for sure seen him on YouTube. He has his own YouTube channel talking about the Montreal Canadiens. Andrew Thompson, also known as DrewDekes from the YouTube channel. Andrew, thank you for taking the time to be with us. Welcome to the Curfew Boys podcast. How are you, man?
Welcome.
Good, man. It's a pleasure to be here. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, man. It's crazy how I don't know about how you guys feel. The off season, I'm ready for hockey. I'm ready for hockey, man. I don't know how you guys feel, but otherwise, Andrew, how's your summer going?
It's good. It's so funny because this is actually like the NHL actually feels like it's on a break.
Mm-hmm.
So what a concept. I'm kind of enjoying it. You guys can probably relate as creators and, people that want to put Habs content out there. It's nice to have the break. At least I appreciate it anyway. I mean, when you go through a full season or 2 or 3 or whatever of doing it, you kind of start to appreciate taking a break and unplugging and giving yourself a mental break from it all. But at the same time, we're all just kind of waiting. Like, is the trade going to go down this summer, or we have to wait till August or September? Like, what's the deal, right? So we're all kind of anxiously awaiting the next thing to drop any moment now too, right?
I know. And you know what though? But I think for the first time in a long time, and I kind of want to backtrack like a bit of the timeline, like where we are at right now in this very, very particular moment with the Canadiens. We're going to backtrack to a couple of the events that happened within the last couple of weeks, within the month. But I really feel this is the first time, and I know Anthony said this in our previous episode, like it's a good thing that the Canadiens aren't doing anything at this moment, as much as trades or free agent signings. Like everybody wants that for their team, hoping that it's going to improve the team. But as much as nothing's happening, I still do believe Kent Hughes is trying to master something within vacation time or whatever. But at the same time, too, for me, the way I see it, no news is good news. I don't know how you guys think. For now, for at least the way the team is constructed in the meantime, maybe where it's going, I'm happy that it still feels like they're sticking to a plan, even though nothing's being made at the moment.
Well, Ken Hughes is certainly one. I mean, they showed us this past draft about not being not showing his hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because clearly they had us all fooled with or not all of us maybe, but some of us fooled about how interested they were in Demidov, right?
Mm-hmm.
As an example. So something's always brewing. I mean, Kent said it in his interview with the Canadiens that he's a hockey junkie. Shout out Matt Newfoundland too, just because the name comes up, right? But it's interesting. You always assume to some degree that the phone's always on, in other words, right? But at the same time, I like what you're saying there because they're sticking to the plan. There's no panic.
Yeah.
Right. There's no panic at all. They're sticking to their plan. In probably in history, I would say in Canadiens history, as far as like the fan interaction goes, the Canadiens are also more open to to the fans. And like, how many interviews did Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton do on podcasts this year? Have we ever seen the Canadiens management do that this year? Like, that's a new thing. So I think as far as the connection to the team, we're all seeing this happen in real time since Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton took over. And we've all sort of been along for the ride. I think we're all buying what they're selling. And it just seems like, no, there's nothing going on right now. It's quiet. I like the fact that they stuck to their guns on free agency. But you know what was funny is on free agency, as I'm watching like Stamkos, March or so, like over $1 billion gets spent in free agency. I'm kind of like, inside, like you sort of feel envious, right? But then later, after all the money's spent and all the buzz is gone, you kind of go, okay, we signed Slafkovsky to an 8-year deal. That's pretty sweet. And what do we need right now? Well, they're going to do something soon enough, but afterwards, that initial inkling of like we're missing out, that FOMO feeling, for me, it was gone after the end of July 1st.
Chris for sure is going to say something about it. Like on free agent frenzy, I don't know how many stupid contracts were given out, and like a record over $1 billion.
Crazy.
Like to me, I love Joel Edmondson, but I think the contract, I think LA Kings gave
good for Eddie. That's all you can say.
Good for him. And somewhere down the line, I think LA is gonna be like, yo, what the hell? Ask Chris what he thinks about the Tanev contract for Toronto.
Yeah, too late for Tanev probably, but I want to hear what Chris thinks too. I'll stop interrupting. So.
No, it was just the most nonsensical deals, and I understand that some of these teams are going to be pushing for a competitive playoff run. Let's say it at the very least, but I found so many teams threw money at players that they didn't even need in the first place, and these are not. These are not contracts that might turn into problematic ones. These are like, you're already staring at it and it's so flagrant. Like, I don't think I've ever went through a free agency, like a July 1st free agency frenzy, and thought those were a grouping of some of the worst signings, like mass bad signings. So I'm happy, especially when I see teams like Toronto commit a whole ton of money to players that are going to be very hard to move thereafter. But Nashville, I'll go back to what you said, Drew. Like, you look at what Nashville did, and no matter how bad the contracts are, I personally, this goes back year, I was curious to see, if we could go fetch Jonathan Marchessault, if he could come in as a veteran and just help the team. To your point again, I am so happy that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton stuck to their guns. They had an offer on the table. They identified him as a player, and then they said, "No, look, the term is just nonsensical. We're not committing to that. Best of luck in Nashville." And so, disappointed, like you said, disappointed at first, but such a feeling of relief thereafter, especially with all the young guys that we're going to have to be signing in the next 2-3 years.
But what was it? I think Marchessault, he actually accidentally revealed it, or I don't know who was it that revealed it. I don't know if it was Kent Hughes or March.
It was Marchessault who said it openly.
But he said like they obviously, these guys at that age, at the age of like early 30s, mid 30s, their careers are over in like 4 or 5 years, give or take, depends the health, all that. There's so many factors. But I think the Canadiens offered maybe 2 to 3, and he just got another year longer in Nashville. And that, to him, if you think about it, that guy, like, that's how he's gonna bring food to the table for his family. So I get it that he refused, but yeah, great on management for just sticking with their guns. But like that Uri Slafkovsky's extension, even though not a free agent yet, I think that kind of like sealed the deal for Habs fans, thinking like, you know what, man, these guys know what they're doing. And to me, again, I say this all the time, Kent Hughes being an agent, he knows how the market works. He knows how negotiations works. Now he's on the other side of the table, obviously, but this guy, I just want to kiss that bald head of his. That deal is so good. It's perfect. I know we talked about it, Chris, in the previous, but like, Andrew, like, back me up here. You have to, because this contract is absolutely insane.
It's funny.
I got back in our faces. Or throw it back in our faces to tell us how we're wrong.
Or you
It's hard to.
complete
Like,
180.
maybe this episode will be boring because we'll just agree on everything. But we're all big Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton fans. I got close to kissing Kent, or actually my friend
No
Shane
way.
from the Sick podcast.
Mhm.
When I went to watch the Prospects Challenge last year on my channel, I posted a video. But like I basically could have met the entire Canadiens brass. Like they were all right there,
Yeah.
and I met Marty and Kent. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like I was talking to Kent Hughes, and like I'm trying to just focus on talking to him, but in my brain, I'm going like, "Holy crap, this is the GM of the Canadiens!" And like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like face to face. The guy I could have kissed his bald head, and Shane wanted me to, but I didn't. Just this time, maybe next time. But
Hopefully, maybe one day.
but you know what? Like, when have you ever heard also? Because Kent did acknowledge the Marchessault offer because because he knew it was out there in the media anyway. So he's
Yeah,
like, yeah, well, we
exactly.
had a deal for, like, how often do you ever hear that we had an offer for a player that didn't go through in a name, like an actual name?
You know what's funny? Probably the last time I can think of that.
Like Bergevin would like, no, we're not in online.
No, but speaking of Bergevin, and oddly enough, with the Nashville president, didn't he say that we almost had Matt Duchene at one point?
Well, they had a meeting with him, but like,
Yeah,
it was more of like a smoke. That was a smoke screen, I think. Like,
Right,
he had already bought a house in Nashville at that point.
That's
So
true. Yeah,
at least that's what we heard in the media.
yeah, exactly. But then a lot of people are comparing Quentin Byfield's extension with LA to the Slafkovsky deal. So listen, at the end of the day, they're sticking with and we're gonna get to Demidov later. I still think Demidov is gonna get paid more than the three of them. And by the three, I'm talking about our top line right now: Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slafkovsky. And you know what? Rightfully so. But personally, and the proof has been in the pudding for past Stanley Cup champions, teams that have max salary cap at $10 million and less, a lot of those teams won. And Chicago did it, LA did it. When Washington did it, Ovechkin was making $10 million exactly. I think Andrei Vasilevsky and was making less than $10 million. Not even Stamkos or Kucherov were making, or Hedman were making more than $10 million. Even if the cap is going up, I truly believe Kent Hughes has a bit of that Patrice Bergeron mindset in the back of his mind when negotiating, because Bergeron said it. All right, I think Kent Hughes said it. He goes, Bergeron took pay cuts so the team could have enough money to build around them and build a potential championship winning team. And I really think that mentality has stuck with Kent Hughes now that he's a GM and that he's building a team. I really think in the back of his mind, he's thinking, and maybe he's having conversation with those players. Look, you guys, yes, we're going to give you all the money we can now, but if we keep the cap space lower than whatever you think you could be projected, we'll get money to properly bring players along and build this team. I think it's a selling point.
I think so.
I think that's what I think, at least.
I think so. And it's just the way they're going about their business. Kent Hughes was a very under the radar, brilliant hire for this reason, like the contract negotiations, the understanding of the players on a personal level.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think that's been his MO since he got here. And then there's Jeff Gorton as well, who's built two successful teams. Yeah. And they're still successful in New York as far as the Rangers are concerned. But
I love the Rangers, to be honest. I really
do. They're fun. They're fun to watch. And certainly they're going about it the right way. And it's the tactics that it's just a lot more. We're seeing the whole thing. Like you have that sense of unity within the management group and how they're relating to us as fans too, like we said. So like, that's kind of something that they're doing a lot of things really as one cohesive unit, and it's working so far. And I think for me, like when it comes to free agency specifically, I still didn't feel like this was the year. I think many people didn't feel the same. I've only had one player in the next two free agent classes in 25, 26 that I was like, you know what, if somehow he was available, I'd go after him. And that's Kirill Kaprizov in Minnesota. That's assuming if somehow he does not re-sign next summer, and Bill Guerin is probably going to put fresh ink on, June 30th at midnight and make sure he signs it at 12:01. Yeah. But I was thinking, this is before Demidov, though, mind you. But we at least got our next Russian. I call him the next Russian Rocket. We're all coming up with names for him. But to me, that's what I was thinking. He could be the next.
Oh my
God. The next Russian Rocket. So maybe it's just like we're all getting overhyped. But you know what? He's a player that's worthy of the hype. Maybe even more so than Michkov last year, who I know you guys wanted. As I look back and I saw what happened there, and you saw probably, or if you didn't, we all saw the reaction last year compared to this year. Let's just say
this year's reaction is a lot more acceptable and joyous and fire and
hype.
Oh my god, yeah. I couldn't. Well, because the best one is our buddy Joey that's on the podcast. Like, I thought he was joking when he said if the Canadiens don't pick Michkov, he's leaving. He's dropping out of the episode that we were recording live
last year
during last year's draft. Yeah.
Okay, so he's gone then.
But the problem was when he was streaming it. I think he was streaming. Some of us were on different broadcast channels. He was ahead. So he saw the pick while the rest of us were still watching them come on stage. He saw the pick, so he's like, I'm gone. I'm leaving. The next thing, you just see his screen go completely blank. And I'm like, no way. But I want to get into it. Okay. I want to get into what the Demidov pick does to Reinbacher.
Takes the pressure off. I saw what you said.
Thank you. You've been doing your homework. You're getting an A+.
I pay attention, guys. I'm going to go on a show. I try to pay attention.
That's fantastic. I really do believe that. I honestly think that and I say the pressure's off Reinbacher. Joey said the pressure's off Kent Hughes to pick that potential elite talented player. Yeah, that game breaker, however you want to call it, game changer, whatever you want to call him. So this is why I look forward to David Reinbacher this year in Laval. I know he's going to start in Laval. I just don't think there's room for him for now for this season. We'll get to that later as well. He could go there. He could adapt to the North American style. Doesn't have to worry about anything at all. And now there's even actually. Did you guys see Michkov get picked up by Briere and the assistant GM?
Yeah. No, the last I heard is they couldn't get a hold of him on the phone, but that was before he signed. So
no, there's if you go on Twitter, there's pictures of Michkov and Michkov, Briere, and forgive me, I forgot the assistant GM's name, but yeah, they picked him up at the airport. Michkov's there with his Phillies cap and
good for him.
Yeah, Drew, I want to ask you, who did you want the Canadiens to select at the draft?
Last year or this year?
This year. This one. This is the Demidov draft.
Well, I was pretty I had to make a pick that night because we did our live stream too, and with my buddies Paul and John, and I was I was just trying to come up. I had to come up with a name, and I was like, well, I really liked TJ Ginla. Okay, and it's funny because I wasn't that far off. He went number 6 to Utah.
Yep.
And some scouts had him ranked a lot higher at the end. Some had him, near the number 10 spot where he remained for the second half of the season. But yeah, I really liked TJ a lot. I think a lot of us weren't thinking Demidov was going to be there at 5. I think that's what the majority thought. Like when we saw Beckett Seneca get picked at 3, everybody, including him, hit their jaw dropped, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So it was like, okay, this draft is weird. So like, we don't know what to expect. And that was good. It was like, expect the unexpected. It was like what Kent Hughes would say. It was what my co-hosts were saying. And I did like TJ Ginla a lot. I was just trying to like wrap my head around the idea of them still possibly taking a defenseman again. And they didn't, thank God. Yeah. But TJ Ginla I was pretty high on. And then there were a couple other players that I would have been okay with. And I'm trying to think, like, I just worked a pretty long day today, so my mind's drawing a bit of a blank. But
no worries.
In terms of forwards, I mean, we were all kind of. Caden Lindstrom was a real big name that was out there for the Canadiens.
He was high on my list, at least. I know I really wanted him because thinking that there's no way. I thought Chicago, either Chicago or Anaheim. Well, I still had a feeling Anaheim was going to pick a defenseman. Just because,
for sure.
You look at their top 4, their top 5. It's the Zegras, Carlson, McTavish. Who am I missing? Cutter Gauthier. Sorry, there you go.
And also,
then you got Troy. Then you got Troy Terry. That's there.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. So when exactly when they picked Seneca, my jaw dropped. I'm like, you can't be serious. I
gave me hope.
Well, that's the thing. But then, you keep hearing the rumors that like, oh, Philly's trying to get the number 4 pick because they want Demidov. But also when Seneca went, I had the strongest feeling, and I was right, Columbus was going to pick Kane Lindstrom, because I think what they
Yeah.
really what shows they really want to solidify their center, their top 6 center ice position now with Fantilli and Lindstrom. That's gonna be a very, very good team up, at least up the middle for now. They still got a lot of issues and things to work on, but
That's a nice 1-2 punch.
yeah, absolutely. And I thought Chicago was going to go with Demidov for the 1-2 punch with Bedard.
I mean, it made sense, right? To see like Demidov and Bedard, even now, the thought's pretty
Exactly.
gross. Like that would have been a pretty gross, but thank you, Chicago. Like that's all I could say. Thank you so much for going with Mr. Personality, Lev Shunov, because it really opened the door for us. And after 3, it was like, okay, we're getting Lindstrom or Demidov. It was pretty exciting. And like either way, you would have had to be satisfied, but we were elated, I think, when we got Demidov. So that was the icing on the cake.
Absolutely.
Well, I think on that point, Mike, you said something very similar to what our group said. We never expected Demidov to slide to 5.
We were all convinced.
He had no business.
Right.
So, maybe tying in free agency along with this pick together, what do you think this means for the Montreal Canadiens organization in terms of progression and getting that much closer to being a competitive team? And, we're not there yet, but eventually becoming potential, fingers crossed, cup contenders.
It's a great question. And I think we'd all love to know the answer, but we all have a vision for what we see happening. Right. But I like how you frame that question just in terms of like, basically it's like, how can we attract free agents after a player like this kind of? That's almost what I got from you there maybe. But I just think this guy's going to put butts in seats. Like the Bell Center, is going to be full from day one, from the time Demidov gets here. That's how much excitement there is about this player. Mm-hmm. And you just look at how they've built, like he was the biggest missing piece in terms of, the position, like everything, like that's what I mean. It's been like a month and I still haven't fully wrapped. It's been less than a month. Okay. As we're doing this, but I still haven't wrapped my head around the fact that they've got him. Like I really haven't, because it's been just like a time warp. It's hard to explain, but I think it really is a player that since Guy Lafleur, I don't think there's been as exciting of a name in this organization that fans are going to get out of their seats and just go crazy for. And it's a complimentary piece to some really great talent in Slafkovsky, who's just like bursting on the scene this year. Yeah. Nick Suzuki is looking outstanding. Cole Caulfield's going to keep going up and up. Our back end looks really promising. Lane Hudson's coming this year. But you look at the power play, and I used to think of I thought of Andrei Markov and Alex Kovalev and how well they used to work on the power play. Markov's my favorite of all time, by the way. And it was Hudson. Like you just picture Hudson passing the puck to Demidov. And by the way, you got to watch Caulfield. Oh, by the way, you got to watch Slafkovsky. Oh, by the way, you got to watch Suzuki. Like that first power play line, we're going to be at the top of the league in terms of power play, I believe, in the next 3 to 5 years.
Oh, that's
cool. When it comes to me, and that'll lead us into being potentially a contender, of course. But I think the free agent conversation makes a lot more sense as you see the Canadiens really step into being playoff contenders again first, with the arrival of Demidov, and maybe in a couple of years, I think 2026 is where I see them getting into the playoffs again. But and then you go into summer of 2026, and all of a sudden, if some miracle happens and Kaprizov is available as a free agent, now you got 2 Russians, 2 top 6 skilled Russians available. And I know I'm throwing out a name that may never come here because Bill Guerin's going to throw the book at him and give him whatever he wants to stay.
Yeah.
But at 27, 28 years old, that's how old Kaprizov would be. And if for some reason Minnesota doesn't get good enough to the point where he wants to stay, next summer, we're going to have that answer in 2025 leading into the next summer if he doesn't sign an extension, I believe. Yeah. So he's one name, I think. There's Kyle Connor. There's others that are out there that are going to be available. But I think it really, this draft, it's still based on how everybody reacted. Nick Bobrov, Lapointe, Kent Hughes, they were beaming in those interviews, as Arpon Basu pointed out on his show recently. And they were over the moon, and they really felt like he's the biggest steal, and it's an understatement for Demidov. And then you throw in Michael Hage, and we already saw a little taste of him at development camp.
Yeah.
And
he stood up.
He did stand out. So I just think, we haven't had this much to look forward to since the rebuild sort of began until Demidov got here. And now it's like, okay, it can't come fast enough, right? And we might have to wait another year, and that can't come fast enough.
Yeah.
But it's good news because they're going about it salary structure wise, I mean, look at the Leafs grabbing Chris Tanev. They wanted that guy 5-6 years ago. They needed him 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
We have David Reinbacher in the system who's going to become a similar, maybe not like as hard of a player to play against, but I think defensively
I think he's
one of the most
solid.
responsible.
Yeah.
He's one of the most responsible kids that we've seen. And we haven't even seen that much of it, but that's his biggest asset, is that he's so defensively responsible, Reinbacher, that he's gonna, this whole team is coming up together. They're all so young, right? Yeah. And that's the encouraging thing too. So I make that comparison with Tanev because they needed him so long ago that in the contending window that the Leafs are in, it might be too late to add a player like that unless he can stay healthy, right? Whereas the players we have, your Hudsons, your Reinbachers, your Mayhews, your Demidovs, just like these guys are all within the same range. They're all coming up together. Jacob Fowler is coming. Like,
I can't wait.
Every
God,
position. Every position has such strength right now, we believe, that it's all going to come in this harmonious moment of, they're either going to be great or we're all just like, I don't know, like it's hard to see them not doing it right because they're really making a concentrated effort, creating the analytics department, the player skills development department. Every department has got a revamp. They got with the times, as Chantal Maccabee has said. They got with the times. And they're relating to fans better. They're doing everything in a way that smart hockey fans like Montreal Canadiens are. They know how to do this too, to an extent, right? Like we know what it looks like to do things the right way if you're smart and you're patient and you don't overreact like I do sometimes. And you know what I mean? But you learn. And I'm encouraged, you guys. That was a long-winded answer, but
no, dude, it was such a beautiful sum up. But so I gotta ask you this, and I don't mean to bring up
whatever you want. I told you I'm an open book.
I know.
Bring it on.
It's obviously so. If you go what the first time you meet Demidov, and if you record yourself saying hi to him, are you gonna tell him that you at first wanted TJ Ginla, but you're happy they picked him?
I know I have to now, right?
And I know, and we all know where I'm kind of going with this, and it's like
that was great.
Like I know you have your quite popular video where you saw Slafkovsky and you apologized to him saying, "At first I wanted Shane Wright, but I'm so happy the Canadiens picked you," and it was we know how Twitter can be.
That's where you and I met.
This is how so folks, everybody listening, everybody watching, this is kind of how the Curfew Boys and DrewDekes broke the ice and built rapport. Is that like we came to your defense because some people on Twitter they're absolutely psychos, and I came to your defense asking you if your HR department got any hurt feelings reports. And
brilliant.
I think your response. I think I felt the appreciation from you. So I think from then on, like our Twitter relationship kind of took off, and I'm very, very happy it did. But I didn't mean to bring that up, Drew. Andrew, I'm sorry, but like
you can bring it up all you want. Honestly,
it's just
totally cool. I don't mind at all.
You said because you mentioned you wanted you kind of were hoping like TJ Ginla based on like where players might fall, but so.
But if I was told Demidov was like, if I knew, if only we knew, if we had any sense. I mean, I just tried to sort of put it out of mind, knowing it was just going to be disappointing if I was really hoping for him, because a lot of us were led to believe that he just wasn't going to be available. But the fact that he was, I mean, I have no shame. And like, that's the whole thing. Like Habs Reddit, like subtweeted me and was like, what happened to shame? And it's like, do you really think Juraj Slafkovsky cares that somebody went up and just said, hey, by the way, like it was hilarious to him. And I don't think it mattered if anyone else thought any different in my mind. So I didn't care. So I was willing to take that risk. He actually laughed. Everyone tries to like read everything. And honestly, like, after the camera kind of shut off, he's like, hey, thanks for that. Like he was sincere.
Yeah, of course.
And
of course.
It was just like, it was so funny.
But that's also, I think that also explains the kind of guy that Slafkovsky is.
I spoke up for so many people I thought the same way. You guys are welcome, by the way. No, I'm kidding.
No, but this is who Slafkovsky is. He doesn't take things seriously. He's super confident in who he is and his capabilities, and he's humble enough to know that I still have to learn and grow into this game, into my body, into the city. But yet it's like, you know what I mean? He's the number one pick overall in the NHL. And for him to like laugh it off and then tell you off camera, like, yo, man, thank you. Like, dude, this are the type of people that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon are putting together to build not just a team, but a winning culture within a family. So like, I'm so happy you expressed that, like, after the fact.
It's just funny because like when I posted on my channel, like most people were laughing and supportive because they know me, right? They know me, right? And they know it was lighthearted, and I'm just like,
of course.
I sort of developed this Rick Mercer style when I went to watch the games practice, just in terms of like I could have chatted with those guys for a while. It seemed like we had like I was making them laugh and stuff like that. And Slafkovsky, like it was just a moment. I had one moment to grab, and like I didn't even know it was coming out, right? But just in terms of like, man, he's a kid, and like he handled it better than everybody on Twitter. And honestly, like Twitter is just, it's not real. I think of it as the Matrix a little bit. Like I'm a big Matrix fan, actually.
Dude,
big Matrix fan.
We can have awesome off-screen conversations.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Nice. But to me, like, you know, these players are going to have so much more to deal with. And the fact that like so many people, like, I don't really care. I mean, if I cared, I wouldn't be doing this and I wouldn't keep doing this. Right. It's not going to be the last time that someone's going to criticize me. I don't care. You have to embrace it. And that's what certain creators have told me is like, if you get hate or if you get negative comments, they're like, man, embrace it. Like use it to your advantage.
They're paying attention to you.
Like, like it was just a quick little snippet. And I would love to follow up with them again and just have a good laugh about it again. Like, you know what I mean? It would just be hilarious.
Of course.
More to come.
In that very same video, Justin Barron seemed to be completely
dude,
dead-faced.
Oh no,
that
guy. I had to put it in there. The awkward comment, right? Like Barron was so uncomfortable, and I kept saying the same line though. I'm like, hey, we're friends, even though we just met. And like Sam Montembeau was like, haha, yeah, like he was embracing it. Alex Newhook was cool, you know. Jack Guy, there's a few others, but Justin Barron just looked like I know this guy's talking bad about me on YouTube, and like, you know, he's had some criticism come his way, right? So I felt awkward, like knowing in my head, I'm like, oh man, I haven't been the most complimentary of Justin Barron, and then like he's right in front of me, and then sure enough, like I got dished an awkward moment of like, hi, can we end this now? You know, like the one guy commented below and he was like, Barron looked like he wanted to call the cops. It was so good. Oh man. You gotta be willing to risk being made fun of or being judged. You're gonna put yourself out there, man. Like if you can take it, people just want to see if you can take it sometimes. Because when you kill them with kindness in return, they almost don't even know what to say. They're like, because
they want that that reaction back from you. And
that's right. Yeah. So anyway,
but even in the sense, I think Andrew's saying, even in the sense when somebody's rude to you and somebody's gonna kind of be like, hey man, you know, it's not my vibe, and you're like, oh, sorry, I'm just trying to be friendly. Like you're saying, kill them with kindness, they end up coming back and being like, okay, this guy's just a human being just like I am, and they end up being that much cooler with you at the end of the day.
Totally. Like more often than not, that's what's happened. And then like, you know, in the feeling out process when your channel's newer or whatever it is, like people are going to challenge you. Like they're going to see what you're made of. And if you're sensitive and you're easy to get a reaction out of, then people are going to do it. And there's people out there on Twitter, as you know, that are sensitive and take it too seriously. Like I'm not even on Twitter right now. I've taken like 3 weeks out of the thing and like, I don't miss it.
Good for you.
I'm a pretty boring follow as far as I'm concerned. So like I focused all my energy on the channel and talking in front of a microphone and a camera. Perfect. And don't waste too much of my time on there. It's just it's too much.
I kind of try to take the Joe Rogan approach. I remember he said this to Neil Tyson DeGrassi in one of the Joe Rogan episodes that Neil Tyson DeGrassi was on.
DeGrassi or DeGrasse? Like DeGrassi the show or DeGrasse?
No, yeah, whatever. I call him Neil Tyson DeGrassi, grass, whatever. However, one of my favorite astrophysicists out there, and because Neil told Joe that when he watched Star Wars: The Force Awakens, BB-8, which is the ball droid, when he's rolling in the desert, like in the movie, it's nice and smooth. But Neil tweeted that like in real life, he'd be sliding sideways because he's what looks like to be a metal droid on sand. It doesn't, like physics, it doesn't work that way. And apparently he got destroyed on Twitter that he's like, oh, I'm not going to tweet anymore. Joe Rogan's like, no, screw that. Like tweet and and what do you say? He has a specific term: post and put away type of deal. So it's like just
Oh, for
post what you
sure.
want about the, and that's what we do. Like we watch when the games are on. Like we tweet like what we see, what we think, and you know what I mean. Like that's just it's kind of like the way, unfortunately, society is on Twitter. So like if you don't have the same opinion, or if you don't follow the narrative, like, oh my god, people will try to like outcast you, and it's like it's just crazy. People take it way too seriously, like you said, Andrew. It's ridiculous.
Talking about taking stuff seriously, I'm curious because we've faced the music with some fans like really lashing out and stuff. Do you have a fan base or a grouping of fans? Like, I think the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto fans like stand apart, but I think our own respective Montreal fans are up there with the way that they challenge us. But are there any other fan bases that really, judging by the conversation, it seems as though it's something that you want to put behind you at any given moment? But are there any fan bases that kind of stand apart in terms of how much flack they've given over the past years?
Honestly, like it's not something I need to put behind me. Like it doesn't bother me to talk about like ups and downs, those sort of things. Like at the end of the day, we're talking about friggin' hockey here, man. Like
Yeah,
about hockey, like who cares? Like why it doesn't bother me. Like I take mental health breaks just to get away from technology. I don't try to get away from people that I don't care what about their opinions. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It's Twitter and social media is also very addictive. So for those that feel like they have to post every day, I don't envy you, because I can unplug and not post stuff for weeks and feel like I'm okay. And I'm not part of that generation that feels like I have to post something. I have to do something to get validation from the world. That's not me. Right. So in terms of fan bases that I've had a couple comments, like, cause people know, like, my name is DrewDekes. Like I got the name out of Steve Dangle's name, obviously. Like it's pretty obvious. Like Dangle and Deke actually mean the same thing. And I got that from his book because I read his book and I was inspired by his book. So and then I got to interview him within months of that time. And like, he's like, dude, I don't care. Like, go do your thing. Like, I like
Steve Dangle, even though he's a diehard Maple Leafs fan. Like,
he's a good dude, man. Like I got to meet him in January.
I like him. Like
he's a good human being. Like,
he seems, and
he's one of the top ones. He's one of the top ones up there, and one of the OGs in terms of creators for hockey fan content and the way that he does it, whether you like it or not. But in terms of other fan bases, like I had one person call me a Walmart Steve Dangle, and I thought that was hilarious. I'm like, that's funny. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, be hurt by that? That's freaking hilarious. That's a good chirp. That's a good chirp. Like, what am I supposed to do?
It's like,
I don't care if you think I'm like, dude. Like I said, if I cared, I would stop doing it.
I'm definitely gonna take your advice on embracing it, because I think I have a bit of that. I think I have
villain.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a good villain either. Like I'm not mean enough. Like I'm just not mean spirited enough, right? I'll get into it. Like I can be competitive. Like if you saw me last night, my ball hockey
that's
game,
my problem.
I can be competitive.
I am competitive too, and because I played hockey my whole life, and I continue to do so. And it's not that I take things personal, but at the end of the day, there's sometimes some comments are there that I'm like,
some of them are pretty brainless. Yeah.
It's like, how could you think this way? And it's like, I accept people's different opinions, and like sometimes people share opinions that I think are really outrageous, but I know they're being respectful. So therefore, perfect. Let's have a conversation.
Right. Exactly.
But then when it's like there's one of them, like I won't reveal the person's name, I won't even reveal the gender, it doesn't matter. Like this person really went off the fucking like not just left field, like the deep end, like
of left field,
felt like hit the crazy tree and hit every branch on the way down, criticizing Marty St. Louis, criticizing us for still being within our father's testicles the last time the Canadiens won the cup, which isn't true. I'm born in 88. So
hey. Yes, say something to that now.
So you know what I mean? It's like this part, like this, but it's like I don't care about the blocking game, but this person's like, I just want to block this person just so I don't have to see anything they post ever again. Like there's some of them, like I don't care about, like, I don't like what this person block. like I
Just mute
I
them.
don't
That was
care.
Dangle's advice. Just mute them. Like,
There's a lot of people I've muted too.
but
yes,
YouTube,
exactly.
you have to decide whether, like, there's been a couple I'm like,
yes,
and a couple come to mind, trust me, about like
sure.
some unhinged, some real unhinged stuff. And you're like, I don't think I'm supposed to talk to you. Like, I'm sorry.
No, exactly. It's like no, like
If you're gonna go that far,
I'm gonna cut you off. Like, anyways,
but that's
That-
their own choice. They do it to themselves, and they
Absolutely.
sound pretty unhappy. I learned a lot from Weiss working with him on the Habs Tonight Show. Like the amount of scrutiny that guy took as a player, like the mental fortitude he had, and we're just dealing with random fans. Like this guy had people shredding him in the newspaper, shredding him on social media, maybe on TV a little bit. And he still came back, and like he still faced the music, you know. So like, there's a lot to learn from people that go through real adversity, and like that's just like trash talk from strangers online. Like, who cares? Like, people, you know, survived 9/11 and lived to tell the tale. You know what I'm saying? Like I know that's a weird example to throw out there randomly,
but I see what you mean. Yeah,
but like, there's people that have faced real hardship, not just you know, comments from hockey fans. Like, who cares? Like, that's kind of what I keep coming back to. But mostly the Habs fan base has been the one I've interacted with online.
Yes.
And other fan bases haven't really come after me that much. Like, there's been a few comments on videos depending on how it rolls downhill. But for the most part, it's been Habs fans being most critical because they know more than me. Like, I'll be the first to admit when I put stuff up there, guys. Like, people are correcting me in the comments almost immediately a lot of times because there's stuff I forget, there's stuff I miss. I'm a fan like everybody else. So that's maybe what I try to relate to people with, is that I can be wrong and I'm okay with it. And I'm good with, like, you know, I'm more than happy to hear everybody else, and they educate me, they teach me stuff. And I'm thankful for that. And they want to help you sometimes. They don't want to be a jerk all the time, right? And just make you look like an idiot. So I think that you guys are probably discovering the same thing as your show's growing. And
absolutely.
And we're taking it better and better, but I still think we're going down that Michael Jordan path. That's all it took. That's all it took. We're like,
and that's fine. Like, have fun too. Like, you have to have some what's the word I'm looking, some gamesmanship, right? Like, you have to be willing to, like, if I'm going to dish something out, I'm going to be willing to take whatever comes back. You know what I mean? So I'm careful about what I say about people. Like, I'm a little bit connected in the Montreal, I don't want to say the media, because like, I'm not an official media member, but I've gotten to know some of the media. I've gotten to know
people. Yeah, exactly.
I have contacts here and there a little bit, but I don't take advantage of them. If I have their phone number, I'm not like hitting them up and all this stuff. Like, I'm trying to be very careful about respecting their space, all that sort of stuff, even with players too. Like, Akil Thomas has just signed a 2-year extension with the LA Kings. He's somebody I got pretty close with in a short time in Niagara, and now I'm hopefully going to go watch him play for the first time in the NHL against Buffalo in the Sabres season opener. He's a guy that inspired my career. Him and Nick Suzuki, who's on my wall. I got this interview with Nick when he was still in junior, just after we traded for him. And like, those kinds of interviews started my little career here in pursuing this whole thing. And I don't know how I got on this bunny trail, but I did. But I think it's more of like what we're seeing from fans, right? Like, if you're getting interaction, by the way, whether it's good or bad, but they're still coming back, they're still watching, that's still good. That's still exposure, right? So some people, you got to put them in their place a little bit. Some people you just ignore altogether. And then there's some people that you can have a back and forth with if you disagree with them. But at the end of the day, we're, you know, I sound like Michelle Terry in there, or, you know, Claude Julien used to say, at the end of the day, all the time, every player and coach has their cliches, right?
Do you remember? Do you guys remember? Just this is a spontaneous test. Do you guys remember what Jacques Martin would say all the time? He would say something.
Oh boy,
that's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind because now you're gonna go back to listen to some of his press conferences.
This is like 2010 here.
This is going way back. Did Halak win the first series or the second series?
Over the course of his whole career, if this guy gets in front of the camera, he gets asked a question, he always said, Moi, je pense que he would always say that. So
I think I know what that means.
I didn't even realize that one.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, that's the nature of the beast, like you say. You embrace some, and
good for you guys.
You take it as it comes, I guess.
Yeah, like good for you guys for understanding both languages. I still don't. Like, I understand some hockey lingo en français, but you guys, like, you take it as it comes. That's kind of what I was getting at. But if you're getting interaction, that's positive, even if some of them are
even if they're negative, like
offside or whatever.
I think it's like any I not like in Hollywood, not like I know the Hollywood business, but there's no such thing as bad press, or bad press is good press. Like I try to
not in this realm.
Like yeah, so you know what I mean. Like I just
hockey.
I love trash talking, going back and forth with the Leafs fans and Sens fans. I'm gonna end it at that.
Oh, for sure. Like those guys
that's just hilarious. They're so
it's too easy though. Sometimes with Leafs fans, it's too easy. Like I have a good Leafs fan friend who's going to join me very soon on my channel. Finally, we've been trying to do a show for years. Nice. I love the guy. I think fans are going to love him. But I just think that like it's hilarious when you see how far it can go. Sometimes it's just like. I don't know. Like that's why Dangle's a good example of somebody that like has been through it all when it comes to like the online, the online hate and all that sort. My wife's in the window. She's like waving at me over there with her friend. And they're distracting me. Come on, I'm trying to work here. No. But like Dangle's just a good role model for how to deal with it if you read his book. And it's just cool because it shows that like you can get along with the other side, guys. Like they know how bad their own team is, and nobody knows more than Leaf fans how bad
in denial.
Just like some of them are in denial, and they see a Habs logo and like it's over. Like you're the worst no matter what. But then you point out facts, and that's up to them.
And then they go, they just hate it. So
I think it's such an interesting point, and you guys like I'm curious. Because time is flying, and I'm curious to get maybe some of the perspectives as to what we're expecting for the short term of the Montreal Canadiens the next 3 to 5 years, what we can expect. And Drew, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time I don't think Habs fans have to lie to themselves about what we actually have. I mean, once upon a time it was like Jakub de la Rose and Zach Fucale and stuff like that. When you look at our prospects on paper, you were saying all of them are coming up at the same time. They all have this wonderful attitude. They have this family type of bond. What's your feel for the Montreal Canadiens for not only this upcoming season, but are we going to get to the promised land anytime soon?
Well, I think that's the plan as far as management is concerned. But if you're talking about like the next few seasons specifically, and then leading into the promised land, which is where we ultimately want to go, it's hard after the Demidov pick. I think it was just like that pick, that the game-breaking talent that we didn't have, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the way they're doing it, we've never seen this done in history. The Canadiens have never, ever, ever done a rebuild like this. They've never done a rebuild.
Not
officially.
Not in our lifetime.
Not in our lifetime.
Bergevin did a bit of a retool, or he
very specific called it the retool. Yeah,
called it a retool, but like the way he retooled it, it's like he just paved here in Quebec. Our roads are shit. They just paved them and just hope that that's what it is. It's like Quebec construction. That's how I describe Bergevin's retool. Unfortunately,
I still drive through the Quebec construction, and unfortunately, sometimes to get to Montreal.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
All I hear my relatives complain about. Yeah, you know what? I mean, like I said, we're buying what they're selling, and I just think they're doing it from a much cooler, calm place than Bergevin, right? I mean, like we learned a lot about Berge from Weiser because again, like. He was his boss for several years, right?
Yep.
And he was very emotional. We've heard Stu Cowan say it that, it got personal with guys in negotiations. And like, it's just such the polar opposite right now, right? Where I think this will help us attract free agents at the right time as well, because they're going to want to come play for Marty. Number one, they're going to want to come play.
Big time.
You know what I mean? Like he's only going to get better as a coach, we hope. And I also think that the hiring of Pascal Vincent helps a lot too.
I think so too.
It's a big deal.
Excellent move for the boys in Laval. Excellent move.
Yeah. So like I just think that everything genuinely seems to be falling in the right place. And say we don't make the playoffs next season, which I don't think most of us realistically expect us to. We expect to get a little closer. But I think we could end up with another top 10, top 15 pick. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, my expectations are leaning towards that, between bottom 10 and 15. Pierre Maguire said this on Tony Marinaro's podcast. The magic number is 250. 250 goals the Canadiens have to score this year. which I actually have the stat here. They did, I think, last year they scored 236, something like that.
And how many 1-goal games we lost too, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it was like 42 or 43, I think.
Like that's pretty
crazy.
wild. If
Like,
we have a healthy Kirby Doc and Lane
So-
Hudson gets in there, who knows, right?
So,
And we
here-
still might get another player before then too, as we keep hearing. So
right now, the way I'm looking at the roster, like I'm the last couple of days, I've been trying to imagine the opening day roster. I think on forwards, it's a little bit more clear than what it looks like on defense. I mean, you know who your centers are going to be: Suzuki, Doc, Dvorak, Evans. They might switch between the third and the fourth line. I think I would like to see on that second line Newhook and Anderson. I think Anderson needs those two to sort of revamp his seat, or not revamp, but give him a nice like kick in the butt and like really hopefully have a much better season this coming than he did last year. That third line, again, do I see Dvorak, Gallagher, Joshua Roy? That's a bit of a wonder. On the fourth line, you obviously have your Jake Evans, you have your Pizzetta, and you have your Raphael Harvey Pinard. And again, if they pick somebody up in the via trade, free agency, whatever, however you want to call it, to me, the big question is on defense. That's where I'm wondering what the heck the rotation is going to look like. Now, I think it's safe to say Matheson, Goalie are going to be paired up again. I personally think Lane Hudson is making the team out of camp. Like I know we only got 2 games to see him. Those last 2 games against Detroit, against a very desperate Detroit Red Wings team that gave it their all because they were like a point or two away from clinching the final wildcard spot. They obviously didn't make it, but he kept up there to, Patrick Kane and the Red Wings that were playing their best hockey, and he showed flashes and signs that like, this kid looks like the real deal. I see Lane Hudson being paired with David Savard. I think David Savard is a mentor to all those kids on defense. It started with Goalie. It's going to continue with Hudson. The third pairing, I have no idea what the heck it's going to look like. And I think it's safe to say Xhekaj is going to be there, even though we're all waiting to see what contract he's going to get. But do you pair him up? Do you pair him up with a Jordan Harris? Do you pair him up with a Justin Barron, who him too? You got a qualified offer. Wait and see what he gets. Does Struble start the season in Laval? Is he going to make the team out of camp? I don't think Mayu and Reinbach are going to make the team right away, but I know they will be call-ups sometime during the season. My gut feeling, if there's injuries, somebody's not playing well, so on and so forth. But it's within those 4 guys. It's like I'm having a bit of a tough time. And it's a good problem. I'm having a tough time seeing where it could go, but it's actually a very good problem, in my opinion. So I don't know. Somebody asked me this. I'm like, I have no clue. They won't send Justin Barron down because they're gonna have to clear waivers, so they don't want to risk losing him for nothing. Kind of like the same way they did with Caden Primo. But other than that, like I think that's gonna be the rotation. But I still think if they can acquire another veteran-like defenseman, like a Jonathan Kovacevic type, somebody who could be a number 6 or a number 7, I don't know. I just that's the one position or the defensive core I'm waiting to see how they're gonna look like.
We're 53 minutes in, and I think that's the first time that I'm going to disagree with you, Sammy, because I don't want another defenseman. I don't want them to bring in a single other defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to package some guys and respectfully move them out of town.
I think that's what this seems to be the kind of growing consensus, is that before training camp, like one of our guys are going to have to go. There's just not enough room. But I mean, it's hard. It's easy for me to say that, I guess. But when you think about the opening night lineup, I mean, you assume Xhekaj's in it on that third pair. But again, is it Harris? Is it Struble? Is it Barron? What if Mayu just has an outstanding camp and it's like, he's ready? What do we do? Like, because I think Xhekaj and Mayu would be, like, they played together in Laval.
We saw them. Chris and I saw them a few times in Laval, and they looked
spotted a goal at the game that we were at.
They looked excellent together. Great chemistry.
That's the future. That's the future pairing. No, like, I mean, that could be one of them. Like once David Savard is gone, Jackeye and Mayu could be your third pair for 10 years, 15 years. Maybe that's maybe they don't complement each other enough at the same, but maybe they do, because they're both tough. They're both offensively minded, but
they're big kids, man. They're both they're both big kids.
They both are big kids, and they can both do a little bit of everything.
And I think they can complement each other in the sense that if Mayu worries a bit more about the offensive side as a defenseman, then that could make Jackeye just be like, yo, I don't have to try to show what I got on the offensive side in order to keep my spot or whatever. Like,
it'll just be a bonus if he does.
Absolutely. And that I think it's where Arbor Jackeye really needs to focus on his game. And it's kind of the direction he went after he got called back to the team. When he got sent to, I saw him a few times when he went to Laval, and he was a man. I'll use the term man amongst boys. Like you saw just the way he skated, the way he carried himself on the ice, his presence. Like he's an NHLer compared to everybody else on the team, not just in Laval, but even I saw him a few times against Belleville. Like you saw that this kid, he's an NHLer. Like he was ahead of everybody, but he just needs he just needs to keep his game a very simple defensive game. Let the rest come after. He's gonna have to, pun intended, pick his battles. Okay.
Yeah.
He's literally, and I think he will as time. Like he made his name. He doesn't have to fight all the time anymore. Just stay in the NHL. Like everybody knows he's got more qualities than that. So
a lot more.
Yeah. So and I personally think like Mayu again. I think he's gonna, if he doesn't make the team right away, he's gonna call. I really think Reinbacher is gonna get a shot, probably the same way Hudson Mayu got a shot at the end of the season. 1 or 2 games. If they don't clinch, if they don't make playoffs, there's Laval is done too. 1 or 2 games, bring him up just to get a taste of the NHL, and then the training camp after that. Make sure you come ready because you need to earn your spot, type of deal.
Yeah, this is a really make or break season for Justin Barron too. As much as like our awkward interaction happened, like I haven't really been as critical of defensemen as I have of him, so it was deserved maybe. But I think this is a really make or break season for him. Agree. And like if he has to clear waivers, not a good sign. If that's like he has to have a really good camp. Like two seasons ago, he didn't have a great camp. This season he had a better camp, and he actually started with the Canadiens and actually looked okay for a while. And then it became clear he wasn't ready for that much of a game load in the NHL. Mm-hmm. Like it just seemed like he still needed more time. Yeah. And the injuries didn't help with the Canadiens. Yeah, they kind of needed him, right?
That's true.
But I wouldn't mind seeing more out of him. I think he's going to have to show it because there's only so many chairs, and his opportunity is getting smaller and smaller.
But in his case, I truly believe the way I've seen him play live and obviously on TV, I just think the kid needs a bit more confidence.
Yeah, confidence is a big part of his game.
Because I really like, there's games where like you see him, it's like, where the heck was this? Like,
yeah,
like there's some boards like he said, like he's looking flawless. Like he's a good skater, he's a big kid, but he doesn't play big as much. But I understand the physicality part of the game is not there. It's not his game. But when he plays with confidence, when he's on, man, like he's impressive. Like he's got it. He's just.
I didn't see that from Struble and Harris. Like Struble and Harris had the confidence. They didn't worry about making mistakes. Harris is a very, very smart player, and that's why, like, him and Struble unfortunately get the most trade talk because they're valuable assets. But do we see a long-term future with them? I don't know. Jordan Harris is a very good, smart player, and it'd be surprising not to see him in the opening lineup. So with him and Jackeye on the third pair, I think that's very possible.
Yeah.
Struble had a good showing as well. He's tough as nails. The Greek god, as Bergevin called him, the way he's built. It's right. True. But like, that's what I mean. Like I see Harris has such a calm to his game back there. You trust him. You trust him back there. Barron, you don't have that trust with yet. Like it hasn't been consistent enough where you trust him back there.
That's right.
To play big minutes. So that's where I think that it's just a big test for him this year.
I also think another player that really needs to prove that maybe do we keep him or do we not? I think Caden Primo. He's got 1 year left on his contract. He knows Jacob Fowler is 1 year away. I think Fowler's one more season in college hockey. At the end, no matter however he performs in Boston College, he's getting a contract. Like
he'll be in Laval after this season.
He's just got that Patrick Roy attitude. I'm not comparing him to Patrick Roy, but that you're not gonna beat me. Like ferocity. like exactly that competitive snubble. Like
He's got the edge.
I picture him telling his guys, "Hey guys, score one goal. I'm not gonna let anything in." A la Patrick Waugh 93. So he's got it. So I think Caden Primo, like it's now like, listen, you don't
It's
have
a huge season for him.
I think it's gonna be a massive season for him
And Sammy. For speaking of Sammy, shout out Sammy.
There you go. Thank you.
Right? You like that one?
Yeah, I did.
But it's funny. Like I when I met the players and all that stuff, like I ended up parking next to Caden Primo. I didn't even know until I went to my car, and he looked at me. I looked at him. I'm just like, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, "How you doing, man?" Like, and he was just a very nice guy. I was just like, "Oh, that's
for sure,
Caden Primo." I just didn't even say anything. I didn't ask for a picture, like no video. There's no story about that on anywhere. But it was just like ironic. I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Like I didn't even know I parked next to him, right? But the fact that what happened with him last season and seeing Jake Allen finally get moved, Caden really started to get some good reps in last year, right? And he knows what it takes, and like he's been groomed and he's ready. And I think I have more faith and belief in him than Justin Barron. I know they're very different positions, but I do have a lot more faith.
Yes,
in what I've seen from Caden Primo so far. And I think it's going to be exciting to watch those two, because I think Eric Engels just said it on Tony's show that a lot of this season's success will depend on Sammy and Preems back there. Yeah. So it's a very interesting conversation for sure. It's something that it's going to be a big story to watch. But it seems like the time is right. Like he's gotten enough reps in Laval. He's gotten enough reps in the NHL now already, and he took more time, and someone like Fowler won't take as much time potentially. He's got that something. He's got that X factor maybe, right? Yeah. So, but that's okay. That's why like the timing is still good for Primo to earn his chair, if you will. He's going to be the backup. Like he's not going to be the third stringer this year. Yeah, so exactly. I'm glad the Canadians, they were smart to do the three goalie tandem, as frustrating as it was sometimes.
Yeah,
it worked
out in the long run. Yes, exactly. It totally was worth it. Since we're gonna wrap it up real soon, but
I'm good for time. So whenever you guys want, it's all good. I don't want it, but just so you know.
Oh, perfect. Where I know we said we see them finishing between bottom 10 and bottom 15 in the league, but where in the division do you think they could finish?
I don't have that much confidence. As much as like, is Ottawa really going to be that much better? Like,
I don't.
Are we really convinced? Like Detroit can make an argument. Mm-hmm. I think Detroit can make an argument. Ottawa, I'm not so sure. Buffalo, I'm a little more sure on paper, but are they going to do it? Because last year we thought Buffalo was going to be better than they were, and they weren't. But they landed their third line center that they've been trying to get it for so long. They got Jeff Skinner off the books, who was a Hab killer. Thank God.
I know.
He's I know. He's in the West now. Thank you. By the way.
I was at the Bell Center when he scored. He had his 5 goals and 3 assists or whatever. And when he had 8 points in the night, I was there for that one.
Gross.
And every time Michel Lacroix was like, Jeff Skinner, like I was with my girlfriend, she was like, him again? Skinner. Skinner.
So you have to.
Well, and Buffalo just signed Luka Lekonen. However, I'm sorry.
That's a tongue twister and a half. Pekka Luka.
Yeah, exactly. So they signed him, but
I live half hour. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No.
I live half hour.
Do you go to the Buffalo? Do you try to go catch the games?
For sure. Every time the Habs are there, I'm pretty much there. It's half an hour from the house. It's so close. So
that's
November 11th. It's already circled on the calendar. Remembrance Day. The Habs are in Buffalo for a 1:00 game, which is weird.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, interesting.
It's a Monday. It's a holiday it's a federal holiday for Canada anyway.
Yes.
But exactly. I usually I've seen a lot of Canadians wins in the KeyBank Center, Marine Midland Arena, HSBC Arena. It's been called a lot of things over the years. But I've seen a lot of Habs W's there. We just saw Brendan Gallagher's 200th career goal there. We saw Pez ride the stick.
Dude, no way.
That was fun.
The Tiger Williams Sally.
The Tiger Williams Sally. I was like trying to make sure my nephew was watching. Look at the celebration. He's doing like a video game celebration.
You for sure saw the Slafkovsky. Are you not entertained?
Okay, so that's my biggest regret. Is that's like the only game after everything I've gone through with Slav on a personal level. I didn't get to see that game in person, and I was so pissed. I was like, he got the shootout winner. Like he got in a fight.
Yeah,
like, almost kind of. It was a bit of a.
That was a starting point of his rise in the season.
Yeah, so to not be there for that sucked.
That's unfortunate. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up real quick. I just want to do a bit of an over or under game with the two of you. I'm gonna name just a couple players, and you're gonna tell me over and under whether it's goals or points. Okay.
Sure.
I'm starting with Nick Suzuki. Over and under 80 points.
That's such a hard one.
But
He's gone up every year, so I won't bet
you
against
too.
him. I'll say over.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he'll be over as well. I don't think he's gonna hit the 90. I don't even think he's gonna hit the 85, but I think he'll be between 80 to 85.
Jeez. Last time we had that was Kovalev, huh? Okay.
I wanted to say 77 points in my head
He
for
had
some
7,
reason,
he
but
did,
like,
yes.
I'm not going to bet against him. I'm not going
He's-
to bet against him.
Like you said, he's going up every. All right. Slafkovsky, over and under 25 goals.
Goals specifically.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'll go first on this one so that you don't have to. I'm going to say if he follows up with what he was doing at the end of last season, I think so. I don't think he's going to have a high number of points, but I think it's feasible that he's going to be like 25 and 25, like 50 points, 50, 60 points. 60 points would be beautiful, but look, 25 goals would be something.
Okay. It's interesting because he became such a good playmaker too in the second half of the season. Like that backhand pass in that one Leaf game to Suzuki, it was like there's been a few of those. There's been a few encouraging signs, but if you're asking for goals, that's tough because I don't really care if he hits 25, but I just want him to hit like a higher point total in general. But that's hard because I want to go with my heart and my gut, but I'm gonna say under. And I've already bet against Slafkovsky in every feasible thing, so I'll just keep going with it. I guess
because it's working. I see.
I'm just gonna say he's gonna get like 24. You know what I mean? Like it'll be something weird like that happens. I don't know, but I hope he gets 30. But
so far, okay. Well, speaking of 30, is Cole Caulfield? Is he gonna hit the 30 goal mark over and under?
Oh, that's over for sure.
Oh, we have to push it to 40. You have to.
That's a gimme. Yeah.
Listen, so
that's
far,
a gimme. That's a gimme.
You know why? Because I felt like the last couple of times I've done that, I think I've set the mark a little too high. So I'm trying to go low because, like, anyways. But I don't know if Cole's. I think Cole still is get under 40 this year.
That's fine.
I could see him getting 35, 36 this year. Hopefully. Another one though, Kirby Dach.
That's a really hard one, but a good one.
Is he going to get over or under 20 goals? I'm going with goals for Dach.
That's what I'm going to go over because I think it's a big comeback season for him. And that's why like if Slafkovsky gets 22 goals, but Kirby Dach gets 25 and then Suzuki has 25 or 30 and Caulfield has 35 or 40, you know, it's like if the scoring balances out and we get 250 goals, like you mentioned, or more, then I don't care where they come from. But in this case, I think Kirby will be on a mission this year, should he stay healthy. But I think 20 goals is very well in the realm of possibility. So I'll say over.
Cole and Kirby, a lot of their goals have to come on the power play. And if the Canadiens want to have success, a lot of it has to come on the power play. Like, I know we talk about Suzuki, I know we talk about Slaf, but specifically, I think those two need to score on the power play.
So can we reform this question? If Lane Hudson is playing as the power play quarterback and making those backhand passes that unfortunately Mike Matheson can't make, or Cole Caulfield can hit 40, yes. Do I want to bet on him hitting 40? I feel as though I jinx him every single time, so I'm going to say no. But again, if Lane Hudson could be on the blue line and make just that backhand pass across that unfortunately Mike Matheson can't do, it's going to change everything. Well, I swear to God, it's going to change absolutely everything.
I got two players remaining, and they're both on defense. Is Mike Matheson, is he going to have a repeat over or under 60 points?
I'm going to say under.
Okay. Now, Lane Hudson, he's my final one. And I'm trying to find the number for him, but
Point per game.
What was that? Point per game?
Point per game. He's right there.
I'm hoping he could be within the Calder Trophy discussion. Maybe not the race.
That'd be awesome.
Discussion. So, listen, I'm trying to pick a number between 40 and 50 over and under, but like, let's go.
It's a good area.
I think he could probably. I don't know if he's going to make the 50-point mark, but I don't think he's going to be far. And I don't know.
Over under 50.
Okay,
Said, yeah.
let's go over under 50 points. Let's go. Screw it. Let's have some fun with this.
Oh boy, Chris and I are both hesitating. I can see. You're trying to picture it, right? Like,
dude, I'm picturing. I don't know why I have 54 in my mind. I don't know why. Maybe he gets like
over 50. Eh?
Maybe he gets 10 goals and like
if Slafkovsky can do it, I'll say Lane can do it. So I'll go over.
Yeah.
Okay.
As
Awesome.
I know it's like two different positions, but I'm like, Lane is like ready out of the gate. Slafkovsky was a little slower out of the gate. Lane's ready now. Like he just looks like
but
he can't wait to put up points on the power play.
But I think that's exactly where a lot of it's going to come from. Like if he could put 30, 35 points off the power play, let's say 5 of those are goals and the rest are assists.
Can you picture him? He bumps Mike Matheson to the second PP unit.
I think it's imminent. I think it's coming day 1 out of training camp.
Andrew, I'm calling this right now. The first power play unit is Lane Hudson with Cole, Nick, Slav, and Kirby Doc.
I don't hate it.
But then when Demidov comes, he's going to bump Kirby Doc. He's bumping Kirby Doc to the second power play unit. Well, and I think that's when we get even more dangerous as a team, hopefully.
You know, Sammy, I know we've known each other all this time, your cousin and everything. I know you don't care about my prediction, but I think that that Hudson could get over 50. The other thing that I'm going to add to that is, you know, unpopular opinion. If we include even the younger players, including, let's say, I don't think it's fair to include Caulfield, Suzuki, but if we were to include Slafkovsky to the mix of Reinbacher, Mayu, Hudson, all those players, I think your number one guy right after Demidov is Hudson, and I think he's right up there with them.
In terms of prospects?
I'm talking about overall prospects. I think.
Oh my God!
I genuinely think as long as he stays healthy, we are in for an American Demidov on the blue line, along with a Russian. I like, my analogy is the following. I think a lot of the fans questioned what it would have been like to see Kovalev actually play every single game rather than showing up one every 3. I think that that's one. Compete is going to be higher. Speed is going to be higher. And possibly, I don't know how one would feel comfortable saying this, but I still think his overall ability with the puck for Demidov is superior to that of Kovalev, at least handling, like skating with the puck. So I don't know. I just, between Lane Hudson and Demidov, the sky's the limit.
We're getting like 1994 New York Ranger Kovalev in year 1 from Demidov. Like,
5-minute shift. Let's go. You didn't even let him on the bench.
I can't wait, man. Like, dude, I'm going to tell you guys this too. I'm on the waiting list for season tickets for the Canadiens.
No way.
And what I'm told is, and it's funny, I'm from Niagara. It's like, obviously, I'm not going to go to a majority of those games. I know, but it's a dream come true. First of all, it's in a long story, and a Leafs fan friend of mine is the one who is partnering with me on the get that through your mind, right? He's smart because he knows the Canadiens are going to make money, so he's smart. But now that Demidov's coming, let's just say he does finish his year in either the KHL or maybe we hope not the MHL, but let's assume that happens. My season tickets should start right when Demidov gets here. So it's a pretty amazing time to be a fan. And I was going to say, are you guys going to the Prospect Challenge at the Bell Center, by the way?
I'm going to be in Croatia.
Darn it.
I'm going to be at the tail end of my Croatian
That sounds
trip.
like a pretty good place to be. That's a good reason to miss it.
I'm not going to lie. I went last year and I saw Mayu, Reinbacher, and Hudson just standing out. They stood out compared. The only forward that stood out last year was Luke Tuck, believe it or not, which I'm actually excited.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Tuck can do.
I'm looking forward to seeing him in Laval,
Florian and Tuck,
Owen.
There's players we haven't. Owen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I really wanted to go this year, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little disappointed that we're gonna be in Croatia and I won't be able to.
Are you looking at your wife right now? What do you don't?
She's not my wife yet, but like she's giving me the death stare, but she's kind of laughing at the
Don't sabotage yourself, Sammy. Don't do it.
I'm not scared. She don't scare me.
I'm going to the Prospect. That's why I'm going to both games.
Well,
I was hoping to see you there.
Well, I'm telling yeah, like I'm forcing the rest of the Curfew Boys to get their asses there and just enjoy it. It's such an awesome experience. Like I said, I was there last year and I saw a lot of the prospects there, Jacob Fowler and I mentioned all the others too. But yeah. It's to wrap this up, man. We feel something special in the air, and there's times where it's like you wonder. It's like not that you doubt, but like sometimes
you got to stay grounded. But
yeah, exactly.
I think like and that's what I was trying to say before. I have hyped myself up for teams that had no business competing, and it was only Carey Price standing on his head. I think on paper, logically, spiritually, emotionally, whatever you want to call it, I think it's the first time that I'm just like, no shit, I actually think they have the team. I genuinely think they have the team and the prospects, and the pathway is leading down to glorious one.
I can't wait for the season, guys.
Demidov certainly solidified that belief.
Yeah. and you know what? I said it that this draft, it could make or break this rebuild. They did not disappoint, and they did not drop the ball. And Demidov, Hage, I'm looking forward to seeing him too one day. I pray to God Koivu's son can make it one day.
Just to see him in the sweater. Just to see him in the sweater.
Exactly. Oh, my God.
Take a face off in the Bell Center and then never take another face off. Like, no, I hope he does.
Yeah, save here.
But just to see it. To see it is going to be something.
On the overall, there's...
Just make sure you're at the Prospects Challenge next year when Demidov gets here. Okay,
I'll
Sam,
be there 1,000%.
We'll get tickets if we have to. We'll do whatever we can.
Already carving out kidneys.
I would rather be
in organs, whatever it takes.
That's why I jumped on the tickets so quickly, because I thought we were going to get to see him. But
I would rather be. I think I would rather be in Brossard than be in Europe.
I'd rather be. Well, I don't know. Anyway, no, I don't know what to say. I want to support your significant other over there. But anyway,
you can. You could tell her straight up, I'm an idiot. Don't worry about it. Andrew, we're gonna let you go. Before we do, tell our audience where can they find you on YouTube, social media. Go ahead.
Like I said, I'm not a great Twitter follow. I'm not on there a ton. Like, I just take mental breaks, not because I can't stand what's on there, but just from social media in general. Like, I unplug, and even from my own channel. But you can follow me on YouTube at DrewDekes. It's on the YouTubes, and then we do the Habsolutely podcast on YouTube as well with my good buddies John and Paul, who I met last year while we interviewed Owen Beck together. And that picture's on this wall too. Actually, that's me and Owen right there.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
And he's not cocky. I think I heard one of you guys say that on your show recently. I'm like, I don't know. Like, he's
confident. He's very confident and sure of himself. Sounds like to the untrained ear, he can sound cocky, but I just think that it's a guy who knows what he's good at. Example, face-offs. You saw it in, let's say, the draft video when he says, "No, I'm the best there is when it comes to face-offs in the OHL."
Statistically speaking, like he's just saying what the stat was. Like, he wasn't saying like, I'm the best and I deserve it, like Shane Wright was saying, and I wish I would have known that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not criticizing what you guys said. It was more just like in terms of like just sitting in the room with a guy, and like same with Nick Suzuki. Like, when he walked out, I was like, this kid's 18. He's never stepped foot on NHL ice. And I'm like, he's special. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to put a finger on it. And then he became the captain, and I was like blown away, because I had a feeling I couldn't explain just being in the room with them. And then Owen, same thing. Like, he's such a pro. Like, he's such a pro, and he's a smart kid. He just carries himself like that. I think he's gonna surprise a lot of folks, and it's gonna be he's not a sexy, highlight reel player, but he's gonna be a good utility player, a great face-off player, a smart player. So I think he's going to do a lot for us.
I hope he gets.
What is this? Is this giving you any ideas? Is this giving any thoughts at all, guys?
The Plekanec style?
There you go. I think he could be Plekanec 2.0.
Hopefully. Honestly, that would be huge, because we've missed a player like Plecky and his consistency year in and year out. That skating style, it's him, that distinct skating style.
I actually
in the turtleneck, obviously.
Exactly. I hope Beck gets a second line center opportunity in Laval this coming season.
He's going to have every opportunity in Laval, that's for sure. Like, now he's turning pro, and he couldn't have ended his junior career on a better note with the Mem Cup and like being the MVP. Like all the things were just like he had a similar path to Nick Suzuki, and then he actually surpassed it because Nick got the OHL championship, as we know, and then didn't get to the Memorial Cup. Owen went to the Memorial Cup, lost the next year, went and won, and then got MVP. So a lot to be said about a lot of our prospects who we still haven't even named all of them. And like, that's what I mean. We're still like Chris said, like I think we have a team. Like, so I'm with you guys. And
awesome.
I know we kept going because it's hard not to when you're talking about this team that we love.
It's insane.
But yeah, no, thank you guys once again for having me. I don't even know if I finished mentioning it, but YouTube is my main thing you can follow me on, and the Absolutely podcast. I've been doing a lot more lately with Paul and John, but otherwise at DrewDekes, at Drew_Dekes on Twitter or X. And I'll be on there more when the season comes around and stuff like that. So I appreciate you guys. I want to give you guys kudos for what you're doing because there's a lot of us doing this now, right? Like there's more Habs creators out there than ever before. But you guys stood out because of the people that you are. So like, I don't get a chance to talk to everybody, but I mean, when Sammy came and messaged on Twitter and like, I didn't need someone to rescue me on there, but like at the same time, it was cool that people were, backing you up and supporting you. And Sammy, you were that person. And Chris, and you guys, you have some, great thoughts about the Canadiens, and I can listen and watch your show any day of the week. So thank you for having me on. And it was a privilege, and I appreciate it, guys. Honestly, there's no better feeling than not feeling like you're alone doing this. So you guys only made that more true today. So
we appreciate, absolutely. We appreciate you coming on, taking the time with us. And like, we enjoy being part of this Montreal Canadiens community and building it and getting to learn others that are doing this as well for the love of this team and that logo that's right behind you, man. It's insane. It's
right.
The things we do for the love of this team. It's unreal.
For you guys, for myself, who was born in '92, I was still in diapers when they won October '92. So I'll say this much: this community coming together, and just the shared emotions and challenges that we went through. I cannot wait. We are already looking forward to it as a community, but I cannot wait to celebrate as a community when they finally bring it home. So I don't think I don't want to say it. I don't maybe sound arrogant, but I don't think we could end it on a better way than
I think you're right. And and it's okay to say it.
That's it. So listen, we're going to wrap this up. Once again, to our viewers, thanks so much for tuning in to YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Follow DrewDekes, like and subscribe his channel. It's absolutely free. And just a way
wonderful
of growing
content.
Absolutely. A way of growing this Montreal Canadiens community.
Man. Go watch the Slafkovsky Baron interview. It's fun either way.
Just be nice. If you don't agree with it, just be nice. That's all it is.
You don't have to. I'll still love you anyway, because that's
exactly. Who I am. All our episodes on podcast platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on. Okay, hold on. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Threads. I think. I don't know. But yeah, we're mostly very heavy on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. So
we're everything that's wrong with this generation.
I'm gonna go touch grass tomorrow. So thanks once again, all Andrew. Man, a million thanks once again. We truly appreciate your time and having you on. This was fantastic. This was awesome. Until next time, Andrew, we're gonna have you on again one day. But if we don't talk, we will talk probably most likely between the season. But enjoy the development camp thing, development camp thing, prospects challenge exactly. And I'll try to enjoy Europe while I'm
there. Good man. I had a blast. So I'd love to come on again. It's a privilege. I'd love to have you guys on my channel as well.
Absolutely. You let us know anytime.
I would love to do that.
Until then, Andrew, you're going to do this with us. Bye now.
Bye now.
Yes.